What's up, Olympia? Today we're talking about the July 8th, 2025 Olympia City Council meeting, which was one of moving forward some big decisions that will have some effect on the community. And for the record, I'm Susan Grisham, and you are?
For the record, I'm Josh Lynn. Looks like I'm temporarily, very, very temporarily filling in until we have a new Kelly.
Manifest.
Absolutely. Not sure how I got here. I think this is some kind of cosmic karma for talking you into doing this show in the beginning. So now I'm in the hot seat. Very much more comfortable on that side of the camera. So everyone bear with me. Keep the comments nice. I'm going to do my best.
Well, I think it's going to be great. And do you want to do the honors?
I'm super excited to hit the button. Let's go. Pressure's on. This is Council in 10. All right, so we started the meeting with roll call. Councilmember Cooper was excused, no announcements, and the agenda was approved.
Yes, so then we moved on to special recognition, which was a proclamation recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month. And Councilmember Vanderpool read a proclamation recognizing the month.
Yeah, and Director of Recreation and Facilities, Scott River, got up and gave a really nice presentation of everything Parks has been working on, some really cool projects. Grass Lake, if you haven't seen the new boardwalk out there and the new art, it's amazing. Talked about all the things they're working on, gave a really nice sort of out-of-the-box presentation about some park staff who are usually behind the scenes. Sort of the theme of Scott's presentation was build together, play together, and he pointed out that in Olympia we just don't do things alone, which is super fitting for the city, super fitting for the Parks Department. So great presentation.
Absolutely. And as I was watching it, the one thing I noticed is I'm really jealous that I don't work in parks.
Yeah.
They have a lot of fun and do a lot of great work. And then we moved on to a public hearing regarding a plan for finance of the issuance of bonds to finance capital improvements in the Hands-On Children's Museum. So the hearing was held to consider this for expansion of the museum, and our newly minted finance director, Mike Githens, shared an overview of the plan. And so the funding for the expansion will come from what are called limited tax general obligation bonds. So those are municipal bonds that allow the city to borrow money from investors and repay it over time with interest. Because the bonds are tax exempt, they offer lower borrowing costs for the city. And the bond sale will provide $20.5 million with a repayment term of 30 years.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know the Hands-On Children's Museum. I brought my daughter there when it was a tiny little room in the old McConey's building. So yeah, it's been around a long time. It's super cool as is, so all the improvements they're gonna make are gonna be outstanding. Yeah, I think it's the #1 children's museum like in the country, if I'm not mistaken.
Number 1 or number 2, yeah, it's a big deal, and you know they serve 350,000 visitors annually, and this expansion will double the exhibit space.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. We did have some community members testify in support of the plan. And after testimony was done, the mayor noted that approval of the ordinance related to the bonds will be brought forward on the consent calendar later in the agenda.
Yep. And then we moved on to public comment. We had 3 commenters in person, sort of a variety of topics, but the one I found super interesting was a comment about HOAs, sometimes requiring people to water their lawns when the city's very much about water conservation. It brought up an interesting conversation. Almost all of the council members sort of commented on it at the end, so I think we'll hear more about that later.
Yeah.
A lot of interest. Then we got into the consent calendar, and that was approved.
Yes, including the ordinance related to the bond issuance we just discussed a few minutes ago. And then we moved on to other business. And so first on other business was approval of a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement with Thurston County for judicial services. So the council did end up passing that agreement. So earlier this year, the council approved the sale of the Lee Crichton Justice Center to the Squaxin Island Tribe. And with that sale, the city has been exploring how to and where to relocate our court services. After months of research and public meetings, we've landed on a plan that would shift judicial services, including community court, jail alternatives, and supervised probation to the county. And the agreement will be funded by proceeds from the sale of the Justice Center. So this plan supports the city's goals to reimagine public safety and expand access to restorative justice programs, and also ensuring continuity for staff and court participants. The mayor noted that this decision was not related to the service and value of the court, but rather a fiscal decision. For the city to maintain the court, we would need $50 to $90 million to build a new facility, and we just don't have that kind of money lying around. So the Thurston County Board of Commissioners is set to review this agreement later this month, and if they approve it, Olympia will officially hand the gavel over to Thurston County in 2026.
Yeah, sort of a culmination of a long, emotional conversation, right? The thing that struck me is kind of like anytime there's employees involved, these are real people. The amount of thought and effort that went into investigating all of the options and then working with staff and the union and all of the parties to make sure it's an easy transition and that everyone lands safely.
Yeah.
Kind of on brand for the city.
Yeah, trying to make sure we do this with a lot of care and thought.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you could hear that in the presentations and the comments from everyone. It was still emotional, very thoughtful though.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to item 6B, which was approval of the Poet Laureate recommendation for 2025 to 2027. I think this is our 5th Poet Laureate. It's been around quite a while, the program. Stephanie Johnson, our arts program manager, and Kathy Dorgan, the chair of the Arts Commission, came in to talk about the history of the program, highlighted a little work of past Poet Laureates, and talk about their recommendation, Ocean, for the new Poet Laureate. Ocean's an accomplished poet with a huge resume of awards, publications, and readings stretching back to 2004, and council approved the recommendation, so he'll be coming on real soon.
Yeah, it's exciting. It feels like the program just started, but we're quite a few years in. So,
yeah.
Excited to see the work that Ocean does.
And I someone noted just the diversity and variety of poet laureates we've had. They've been
all very different.
Covered all angles, really.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay, so when we got to 6C, which is approval to issue debt, more bonds, for the Yelm Highway Community Park Phase 1 construction and the Armory Arts Center Phase 1 renovations. So the Olympia City Council approved a $26.5 million bond package to fund 2 major community projects, the Yelm Highway Community Park and the renovations to the Armory. And these are 30-year bonds like the previous item that we talked about. And the Armory Arts Center was originally built in 1938, and we're transforming it into a community arts hub that's going to host local nonprofit organizations. And this is a really long-planned renovation. And not only is it going to preserve a piece of our history, but it's just going to be a vibrant space for cultural connection and will really help serve our underserved communities related to arts. So it's really exciting. And then the Yelm Highway Community Park has been in the works for over 2 decades. Pretty wild that we're here. So once it's completed, it's going to feature soccer fields, pickleball, basketball courts, a dog park, EV charging stations, and so much more. And it's being designed with sustainability in mind. So council approved the bond package, and construction is expected to begin in early 2026 with some openings planned in 2027.
Yeah, these are 2 like legitimate community changing projects. Yeah. Like they're going to be around for generations. And if you're a soccer fan, there's apparently some really cool stuff coming. Our guy in the control room last night during the meeting actually literally stood up and did this at one point because of some cool stuff we're doing. So if you're a soccer person, go watch the presentation. Yeah,
the soccer community has been kind of knocking on our door for a long time about much needed facilities. So this is going to be a really exciting moment for a sports fan in our.
Both of these projects are just monumental. So really excited to see them going.
Yeah.
And breaking ground really soon.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Cool. So then we moved on to reports. Highlights are the mayor reported regarding several events that happened recently, including a ribbon cutting for the long-anticipated History Museum, which is hosted by the Olympia Arts and Heritage Alliance. It's on the corner of State and Columbia. So another great resource in the community that's being opened. He also noted that the entire city council, along with Senator Bateman and many of our city firefighters, walked in the recent Pride Parade. He noted it was an incredibly a joyous day in our community. And then he also participated in the annual Tumwater Independence Day Parade. And he noted that despite some really difficult times right now, there's a lot to still celebrate about America, and reminded us to, take a look and think about all the good things that are in our communities. And
Yeah, a good reminder.
yeah, and then we moved on to the city manager's report. And so our acting city manager, Debbie Sullivan, had no reports. And the meeting adjourned around, I don't know, I
Shortly after 8:30.
after 8:30.
With that, it was our first meeting without Kelly, so
So it was a bit of a blur.
yeah, absolutely. And that was it.
Boom.
Boom.
Okay, we made it, Josh.
Whew.
A little rocky, but we did it.
Yeah, I'll get these papers sorted out before next time.
We'll put numbers on
Same
them
with the
next time,
stack.
It'll be fine.
One staple will sort me out.
There you go. So thank you for joining us and sticking with us. If you're watching us live, you can stay tuned for the full replay of the council meeting we just discussed, or you can watch it in any other programming on demand anytime at oletv3.com.
And download the app. The app is really good. I hear all cool kids are doing it. You want to be part of the crowd.
And so if you want to watch a council meeting live and in person, we're here most Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We'll save a seat for you.
And with that,
We're adjourned.